Okay. Real estate, you talked about how pharma is perhaps seen the worst, banking is perhaps seen the worst. What about the real estate space? Is that something that at this point you
this
feel...
is an industry in the process of transformation, right? The return, if you look at the balance sheet of Indian listed companies, and if you look at the capital employed, the return on capital in the last 10 years on average has been 7%, 8%, 9%, right? What I personally feel is that real estate prices won't go up, but volumes will go up. And people are underestimating the effect of the affordable housing on India in general and the subsidies the government is providing. So I think real estate has bottomed.
But that hasn't really taken off much. I mean,
in 18, 19, we are going to cumulatively build 3 times the houses we built in 16, 17 and 17, 18. This year it will take off.
So is this a sector that you would look at?
Yeah, I have investments in the sector.
And you believe
I've already looked at it.
You've already looked at it, and you believe that this is ripe for better times ahead now.
I think so.
And you expect that to happen within the next year or so?
Next 2 to 3 years.
Where else? We can talk about retail. We can talk about some of the other spaces where consumption, of course, continues to be the driver. When you, on balance, look at the growth opportunity, valuations, earnings recovery, is there a matrix that today where there are some sectors that stand out?
The only rules are that there are no rules. And there's no metrics, and there's no... That's not how I invest, actually. See, we look at... Rather than looking at sectors, I look at specific opportunities. And one thing I've learned that the lesser the prejudice and lesser the prejudgment I have, the better the investment. So if opportunities come, I look at them with open mind. I'm not close to any industry.
In the consumption space, what would look exciting today?
I think they're well valued now. So I think people
the QSR bets, etc., and all of that are well valued?
Well valued, and people are too bullish. I mean, it's going to be very good, but all that is priced in according to me. According to me, in the next 5 years, you will get a return which is lower than earnings increase. But I feel the P's will correct.
Okay. On the specifically in a lot of the consumption stocks that have already run up quite significantly.
Could be.
Okay. So where else do you believe that we're in that space where at least in the short to medium term value?
See, I'm bullish on India in general.
Right? That you've been.
No, and in the Indian markets in particular. Now I don't, I have no formal allocation of money, right? And if I had made all those formal allocations and reduced my portfolios because one company was too big, I wouldn't have the wealth I have today. Luckily, I didn't do all that. So the companies which perform well remained, right? So I don't look at things from the point of view of sector and look at the point of view of the companies.
Since you're bullish on the Indian stock markets, you're obviously also looking at the infrastructure behind the Indian stock markets. MCX is a bet as well.
Yeah, they're doing well. Volumes have gone up like anything.
Affiliated to the Indian stock market story, bets like MCX, is there any other interesting, exciting opportunity?
Yeah, I have made some interesting opportunities. You'll hear about them.
When will we hear about them?
Whenever the transactions are completed.
So I was hoping you'd give us...
I made some agreements to buy some market infrastructure company.
Okay.
Small portion of it. So whenever it is, I'm under an NDA. Whenever it's disclosed, it will be disclosed.
Do you expect that to happen within the next few weeks, next few months?
Next few months.
Next few months. And this is a single investment or there are multiple investments?
No, single investment.
Single investment.
Where's the money for multiple investments?
Okay. So what would concern you today? Because, we've gone through a phase of fairly benign macros. The micros are now starting to pick up. From a global perspective, what are the events that you're watching out for? What are the triggers that you're watching out for?
What can really upset India's fiscal and monetary situation and the foreign exchange is oil prices. I think the oil price remain between 70 and 75. Then I'm not much bothered about the international scenario. Because India is not a big exporter. IT growth 10 to 15% is going to come, right? Indian exports are today where they were in 2012-13. I don't see Indian exports dipping below this level regardless of what happens in the world. So I'm not so much concerned what's happening in the world. What concerns me in the world are two things. One is I think sooner or later the euro is going to break. So we all got to have we tune on what's happening in the euro. And I think that is one unknown which can really flag off things, and oil and commodity prices. I don't think anything else is going to really, the trade war and all, nothing going to happen in India.
You don't believe that there's going to be any collateral damage?
Yeah, I mean, India is not such big exporter and doesn't have those kind of, unless and until Trump one day says no software imports. But that's not possible. Because the price differences and the costs are too apparent.
So global factors don't particularly concern you today?
See, they will, I won't say, they may temporarily hit the market, but then they will come, the market will come back.
You know, the last time we spoke, it was the third anniversary of the government, and today it's 4 years on and we're now headed into election season. What would you say have been the areas where the economic thinking, the economic policy, the economic vision has lived up to the expectations that you had, and where are the areas where they haven't, where they've fallen short? And I'll raise one point as an example, because this was something that you spoke of, I remember in our interview, strategic disinvestment. You were very bullish. You know, we saw the government announce a big list of candidates for strategic disinvestment.
No, but they tried their best in Air India.
Yeah.
See, what I feel is that for the real effect of what I wrote when Mr. Modi was elected, he requires 2 terms. Right? Even in Gujarat, when he first became the chief minister, the first term was all planning. The execution really came in the second term. Second thing is, he's handicapped by a lot of things what the states can do, and he cannot. For example, electricity losses. Now, Gujarat is one of the few states which is electricity surplus.
Not any longer, now it's deficit.
Because he's not there, no, that's all. Right? So the question is, he needs time. I think the economic thinking has been very correct, very realistic. And I support whatever all the people in the street say. I support the scheme of the government to give a minimum support price for all crops to farmers. Because think of the farmer here. If he gets a crop, he doesn't get a price. If he gets a price, he doesn't get the crop. So instead of saying that we should buy and we should store and we should sell, right? If they procure at 10 rupees, at 15 rupees wheat, 15 rupees is the cost of storing it and handling it. So that you pay
Except that there is no announcement on the new MSP just yet.
No, but they are going to do it. I think that is required. And remember one thing, India has $45 billion of agricultural exports. And they are the most value-added exports. So India can be a big what I feel is that we must have Make in India, but we must make efforts to modernize and commercialize agriculture. You must allow corporate farming, right? You must see, because India cannot, in my opinion, absorb the workforce only in manufacturing. And agriculture can be we can be a big exporter. And our yields are lower than Bangladesh and Pakistan. So I think we need some effort toward that end.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think whatever policies the government enunciated, the taxation, they raised it's projected that they will raise the tax to GDP ratio by 300 basis points. 10 lakh crore is income tax collection last year. 11.5 lakh crores this year. And look at the ease. For the first time in my life, I have received a refund without going to the department. Right? GST, I think, a game changer. People had predicted that GDP will go up by 1.5 basis points to 800 basis points, 1.5%, 8% by Federal Reserve, by the Federal Reserve. No, nobody's talking about that. Only talking about problems. Right? So, and we have to understand everything, all correction, all change in this country is a process. It's a democracy. It takes time. I think we're going in the right direction. Although I would be happier if the speed is enunciated, but it will win. Any
particular policy where you believe that there needs to be much more urgent action? And again, I'll refer you to this business of now the need for a national ARC or a national AMC. Yesterday, in a conversation with me, the SBI chief said that the need of the hour is a national AMC, and perhaps a good starting point would be to put these distressed power assets into that national AMC. This was an idea.
Where we have to take urgent. I think that the time for that is over now, except these power plants. We are coming to now, all those companies are in the NCLT, majority of them. Right, so now all those resolutions, if this was done, it should have been done 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was the point I was asking you. Yeah, this was an idea that was brought up 3 years ago. Yeah.
They can still do it for the power. I think the urgent need of the hour is that today Air India loses 3,000 to 4,500 crores a year. I think MTNL, BSNL are next. So I think government needs to take action and do something before they become the next Air India. MTNL already is the next Air India, right? So I think those public sector, especially large enterprises, which are facing competition.
But are you hopeful that we could expect anything on that front? I mean, look at what happened with Air India. And one of the biggest
you asked me, brother, what you want. I never. It will be, if Mr. Modi is elected, it will be done in the second term. 101%. I have one prediction. If Mr. Modi gets majority and is re-elected, which I think most likely he will be, people will be surprised by the reform and change that will take place. And ma'am, reform, I don't agree with businessmen that he has done anything against businessmen. A lot of businessmen are disordered. I don't find he's done anything against any businessman.
Why? What are businessmen telling you?
A lot of people are afraid. They'll do this, he'll put this tax, he'll do this. He's against, I don't think he's against the rich. See, he's a distilled socialist. Who's a socialist? Who fights for every piece of the cake. He says everybody must have the cake equally. He also wants that everybody should share the cake. But he knows that to enlarge the cake, you need good economic policy. So he says, first, let's try and enlarge the cake. Then we'll think of how to distribute it. So that's what that's what my feeling is. And even if you put some taxes, ma'am, we must not forget that we live in we are very, 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 very fortunate people in an extremely, extremely, extremely poor country. I don't like to pay taxes, but whenever I have to sign that check, that thought always, makes me feel good. That's my duty.
Since you're talking about parting away with your wealth in the form of taxes, but you've also made a commitment through philanthropy. You've got a birthday coming up, and then, of course, as you turn 60, you've got a plan in terms of what you intend to do with your money towards philanthropy. Has that already, in some structured way, have you started thinking about how you're going to use it?
I have pledged 25% of my wealth to charity, right, or 5,000 crores, whichever is lesser. So now I'm going to remove that limit of 5,000 crores.
You're going to remove the limit?
Okay. Right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the money in stages. 2030, I want to give 25% of my wealth. Right. But I will start with a good sum on my 60th birthday. And then over stages, by 2030, I'll give away 25%.
So where are you going to make that beginning? What would be the first areas, the first sectors, the first organizations that you will support with?
My 60th birthday is still 25 months away. So 12 months before my birthday, I'm going to make a team and then we'll decide. But one area I'm thinking of working is eye operations. Because the return on capital on cataract operations is so great. I'm building an eye hospital with Sri Shankara organization of Coimbatore. We're making a 225-bedded hospital where we do 15,000 free operations a year. And it's a model of 20% charge, 80% free, and it breaks even. So I want to enhance. There's so many areas, man. I mean, if you think of it, no amount of money is enough and no amount of effort. But my thing is going to be to give the money and not interfere too much. Sometimes I think give it to some trust only. Let them do it. But it's a commitment which I am going to fulfill.
It's a commitment, and you have now told us that there is you're removing the cap that you had self-imposed cap that you had put.
But I'll give it in stages between 2000. I'll start in 2020 July, and stages by 2030 I'll give it.
Well, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, we wish you the very best of luck.
Let's hope God gives. See, the giver of all wealth is God. He gives. I hope He gives me the power and the tenacity to give it away.
And the heart.
Yeah.
Which is the most important.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Always a pleasure. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
With that, it is time for us to wrap up this special conversation with the big bull. From all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.